short video in the light of what's happening recently in Australia, unfortunately, regarding the Abbott government, the LNP and the National Party at the moment, who have very kindly, generously blocked any future debates, discussions on same-sex marriage here in Australia, which I think is absolutely appalling, because, let me tell you why. This is probably one of the last first world modern countries that have yet to implement the equality rights that we deserve. Let's face it, as ordinary folk who just want to blend in society, get on with life without living our lives like a goldfish in a bowl, constantly being dissected and picked at by everyone. We, despite what people think, we don't really want to be in the public eye all the time when it comes to negative issues. Others may beg to differ, but we don't. We just want to have equal rights. We just want to be like everyone else. That's all we want, nothing more, nothing less, but Tony Abbott, the lovely Prime Minister here, check the sarcasm, has yet again disgraced Australia with his own deep-seated opinions, which I believe come truly from somewhere very dark and macabre within his soul, if he has one. But yeah, we're not important enough in Australia. I mean, I have to say, I'm from England, from London, and it is very diverse there, so I wasn't that into politics when I lived in England. I was interested in knowing what was going on, but it hasn't affected me as much as what it has moving to this country, because I just cannot believe that such a beautiful country like this, and it's so modern and so notorious for leading the way with a lot of things in life when it comes to modernity and state-of-the-art technology and apparently politics, but yet it's so archaic and outmoded when it comes to issues for human rights because of this man, Tony Abbott. And I'm sure if anyone else got in now, they would change it, because there's so much pressure put on the government now for just giving up. What is the problem? He's perpetuating hate, violence, dissension, and it's affecting all the poor young Australian teenagers that are about to come out. Statistics prove, I've done a lot of research, that in Australia there are many teenage suicides, and it's transpired that that's been through fear of how the world will perceive them as your non-archetypal macho straight men of Australia or women. It's still quite taboo. I just find it absolutely bizarre to me in this country. That's why it's become such a big, avid interest of mine, the politics and gay rights in this country, because I just find it bizarre that seemingly that this country is as advanced as England, as America, but yet people are still in the closet. People still hide what they are. I've spoken to a lot of gay people here, and I've done a lot of, as I said, research and reading statistics, and also like out people in this country that are on the register that have in some form or another stated that they're gay. It's far and few in between, and I find that quite shocking, but we all know that they're out there. It's just that because of the way society has perpetuated this intolerance of homosexuality, they've for some reason or another feared to come out and be honest. That's not all of them. A lot of them that are out are great advocates, great role models and mentors for those that don't want to kill themselves, but they're finding it a real struggle to try to blend into society here. And I just think it's absolutely disgusting in this day and age that someone like Tony Abbott can still prolong that hatred. In a way, him and his government are waving a green flag for all the bullies and victimisers to carry on their hate, their verbal hate, the violence. There's been a lot of gay bashings around Sydney and Melbourne, and he's basically, by condemning our lifestyles, so he puts it, he's basically giving those people the green light, the green flag to just carry on doing what they do. And I'm old enough, big enough and ugly enough to accept that there are pricks in this world, wannabe fascist dictators, that just, you know, are awful and vulgar in the way they conduct themselves. I'm big enough to accept that, but I feel sorry for the young ones in this country. Those are the people that are going to suffer the most in the aftermath of this tainted fascism that he's permeated the country with. And, you know, ironically enough, 70% of Australians don't give a shit. They don't care. You know, they're all for equality. Whoever you love, it's up to you. It's what fuck all to do with anyone else. But it all gets embroiled within this religious debate that Tony Abbott keeps on grasping hold of for dear life. The man claims to be, a devout Christian, Catholic, whatever he is, with morals, who sticks by his guns vehemently. Family orientated man, and yet his sister is a lesbian. She's gay, and she wants this to push forward naturally. But yeah, he's hurting her a great deal, I would imagine, inadvertently hurting her. But yet family means a lot to him within his Christian moralistic ethos. You know, it's making me feel ill, actually. But the fact now that they have blocked, in the Abbott government, even speaking about same-sex marriages for a long time now, just really, really infuriates me and infuriates a lot of the LGBT communities. Even in America and England, and I'm Facebooking people, sharing posts explaining what's going on with the coalition and how you can spread around glitter, symbolic. You can make your own symbolic words within this glitter to send to the coalition, to the government, to let them know that we haven't forgotten and that we still have a voice and that we will be, you know, taking this to the full extent. And it seems all over the world people are interested in this, and people are asking me from America, from Indonesia, from, you know, places all over the world, what the fuck is going on in Australia? We thought it was such a modern country that you know, the land of luck, where a lot is going on. Yes, it is, but unfortunately it's a little bit draconian. It's a little bit backwards when it comes to human rights issues, gay rights issues. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to be quite exclusive. I'd say that it is mainly a problem with gay rights because, fortunately for other people, there doesn't seem to be too many problems in this country when it comes to other people's rights. But here, in the state of Queensland alone, which is where we live, a gay couple aren't allowed to adopt. Okay, any heterosexual couple can, all right, even if they're unfit and ill-equipped. They can keep breeding. They're allowed to. They can adopt, but we're not. As equipped gay couple, both in jobs, both doing really well, we're not allowed to adopt. There's still a law that exists in Queensland. I think it may have been abolished. I should have done that research before I spoke about this. But if it has been abolished, it's only just been abolished by a great guy, a reverend, who, ironically enough, Catholic reverend, who sent a petition around and it escalated and snowballed. But it was called the Gay Panic Law, and I don't know whether it still exists, but it literally allows a straight man to practically get away with murder if he can claim that he murdered a gay guy for molesting him, for sexually assaulting him in some way. He can literally probably get off with it. So I don't know whether that still sits in Queensland. Then, of course, the same-sex marriage bill, which has been circling around for years, and it's so fucking boring, so dull. This excuses that come from these members. But apparently now the good news is that some of his party members have rebelled, and a lot of people within the government allegedly are rebelling and are trying to make a stand against discrimination. Whether or not anything comes to fruition through that, I don't know. I hope it does. I'm going to stay positive. But, you know, apart from that, being gay in Australia is great. It's just, it's not gay people's fault for remaining closeted, for being quite afraid to be who they are in life. It's the government's fault, because there's been a constant, even Julia Gillard, who was a woman and you'd think she'd have a little bit more understanding, Margaret Thatcher didn't, did she? But, you know, even she, who's been accused of being gay herself, even she didn't want to advance the situation. Are slowly changing here. I'm surprised only now do you start seeing in Australian TV programs, and okay, so not everyone watches TV, films, whatever. I certainly don't watch Australian TV because there's too many commercials, but you're starting to see now gay characters introduced slowly. Whereas America and England and Europe have been doing it for years, but at least it's happening. And those things, believe it or not, through the media, through films, those things have a massive impact on the way society perceives any minority, because now all of a sudden it's become a bit more acceptable. Okay, so, you know, Joe and Bob down the street won't necessarily think my son's peculiar, excuse the pun, because he's different. Because, yeah, there's characters in Home and Away, or, well, that'll never happen, I don't think, in Home and Away, but anyway, certainly like Winners and Losers and programmes like that. It's slowly happening, and it's slowly becoming more acceptable in that sense. There was a commercial that said it was absolutely wrong for two men or two women to raise children, because naturally the child is going to want a father figure or a mother figure somewhere down the line. Okay, so is it wrong for single parents to raise children then? I'm guessing in a strictly fanatic zealot religious person's mind it would be. But, you know, it's just pathetic. So these commercials, it's quite frightening, are allowed to be aired. And that's a democracy here, but, you know. I implore all of you out there to follow my Facebook page, the link within the description, and I've been sending around some glitter for you to send to the coalition, to the government, and sharing the stories of what exactly has been going on with our very open-minded Prime Minister. He went on TV, everyone, just by the way, to announce that gay people threaten him. I don't know what to say to that, really, I don't. He's a man of very few words, quite inarticulate, some would say, but when he does speak, it's just bullshit, and it's hate against anyone who isn't white, Caucasian, who isn't religious, who isn't a heterosexual family, 2.4 children. He doesn't like, it doesn't fit into his little world. He can't categorise, he can't pigeonhole them. And if you don't believe me, then take a look at some of the videos circling around, because you'll see what kind of a man this is, alright? Hopefully you won't be in power for too long. But anyway, spread the posts is all I can say to you. Thank you. But you know, I love the sea here, I love the weather. I learned to drive when I was 40 years old, when I came to Australia, and I was too shit scared to drive in London because my dad's a London cab driver. He kind of put me off a little bit, but not just because of that. But I lived in central London, so I didn't need to really drive. I just got on the tube or walked. I usually got very pissed out of my head whenever I went out anyway, so, you know, who can drive? Who needs to drive? So I learned to drive when I came here. I quit smoking when I came here after starting at the age of 15. I started my YouTube page here, and it's just flourished and you know, gone to lengths, and I wrote a book here, and I've done many things here. I do believe this country is the land of luck, I really do. So, you know, there's lots of fantastic things about this country. All it needs is to fucking buck up on its politics and get that man out. He's too outmoded, okay? We need someone new with a young, fresh mind. I don't necessarily mean young in age, but just, you know, liberal thinking. For far too long it's been too far-right conservative here, and it just does not fit with the beauty, in my opinion. It doesn't fit with the backdrop, okay? That's just my opinion. It needs to change. But it's alright, it's okay to be gay in Australia. Some might beg to differ, but don't. Share my post, will you? We need everyone to sign that petition against Mr.